In the depths of the void lurks the true terrors of the galaxy in the 41st and 42nd millennia. Each one carries weapons which scorch through the darkness between the stars, illuminating them only briefly with fantastic light and destruction. Worlds find salvation or extinction on their whim, or because of their intense battles in the most dangerous, colossal, and consequential battlefields of Warhammer 40,000. This is the realm of the Leviathans. This is Void Combat. This is Battlefleet Gothic. Today we are going to examine the nature of Battlefleet Gothic and what it means to be playing the greatest war machines of the Imperium, Chaos, and the Xeno races in the setting. This will be an overall overview before we begin to approach each fleet individually and discuss what they are and what they do. It's important to note that Battlefleet Gothic is no longer supported properly by Games Workshop, and while there is a great deal of community content that has sprung up around it, this channel is only going to cover the rules and units displayed in the original content. We will talk about alternative models due to there being no official support at this time. In Battlefleet Gothic, the player will be given an option to field a fleet of ships from the Imperial Navy, the Adeptus Astartes, the Forces of Chaos, the Tyranids, the Necrons, the Tau Empire, and the Eldari. As a special note, unlike other games from Games Workshop specifically, it is noteworthy that measurements in Battlefleet Gothic are made in centimeters, not inches. For the fleets, there is a simple list to construct outside of points for most of the fleets in the game. Fleet compositions are locked into essentially taking mid-tier ships, such as cruisers, and forming them into squadrons. A single fleet will typically have a cap for overall numbers of cruisers that will appear in one fleet. Capital ships are able to be taken based on the number of cruisers one side selects. For instance, every 3 Imperial cruisers allows you to take 1 Imperial battleship. So, a fleet of 12 cruisers, the maximum number a normal fleet list will let you have, will allow you to take 4 capital ships to lead them. This would be highly abnormal, just due to points values, of course, but it gives you an example of how fleets are comprised in the lists of Battlefleet Gothic Armada in their final edition. The game is built on maneuver, being utilized to take up the most vital positions to deny your opponent firing arcs, while giving yourself optimal firing capabilities. Making sure that you are facing away from their guns, in other words, while they are brought into the teeth of yours. And that is the ideal way to attempt to disable or destroy an enemy vessel. In the past, one would buy squadrons of cruisers together, either in blister format or in box sets, with battleships and larger vessels being bought as individual miniature pieces. The models were mostly comprised of metal, barring some cruisers which came in plastic. Without any support from Games Workshop, there is still a community of people, which I mentioned before, who have made efforts to keep the game alive. And these communities have also received a boon with the release of Battlefleet Gothic Armada and Armada 2, the video games. However, it is unlikely to see these systems being played at local game stores, or especially at a local GW. This means communities struggle to bring in new players in person without official support from GW. But one thing which they have begun doing is producing some incredible 3D models. Without any real support from Games Workshop, there is no justifiable argument against these people producing and procuring these pieces. In fact, there's every reason for them to do so until GW begins to support this system once again. There are rumors this may happen, but in the meantime, there are options to build new ships to replace those which can no longer be procured anymore. If Games Workshop does return to support this beautiful system and incredible models, then I will be among the first people to try to support them. so long as it is set in the 40k setting, and not in Horus Heresy. If for no other reason than the fact that I can't stand mirror matches, and I really am not interested in playing a mirror match system similar to Legio Titanicus. In our next video, we are going to begin to look over the most prominent force deployed in the game, the Imperial Navy. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. With that, I'll catch you in the comments section below.